The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And I feel like it's cruise weather. You ever been on a cruise?
I've never been on a cruise, actually.
Well, at night, when you're on the deck, that's what it feels like outside right now.
I would say this. I have been in Florida in the summertime and stuff like that. So I know what you mean with the humidity, but of course the cruise, I definitely have to do that at some point. But on one boat ride or one of those ferry rides, and it was so cold and windy that I couldn't even breathe outside. But either way, let's take a look outside. Those current temperatures, we're waking up to those lows in the upper 60s, low 70s. It's a very warm start to your day today, and the reason for it is, as Gary mentioned, it feels like cruise weather out there. We've got that humidity taking place right now, and humidity is keeping those temperatures warm and pretty much going to be keeping our temperatures warm for the next few days. The radar is picking up on a few rain showers, primarily in the capital region early this morning, the Hudson Valley. For the Mohawk Valley, aside from some patchy drizzle, it's really quiet early today. Now, we could see a stray shower or even a rumble of thunder as we head into this afternoon due to that high humidity. However, we have a better chance for a shower or storm tomorrow as we continue to track that, plus that upcoming heat wave next week in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. New this morning, more.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back, everybody. The time now is 5:12, and as we look ahead to the day today, it's going to be a warm and humid one with even a chance of an isolated storm later on. Let's take a look at what's going on outside. First off, across the area on the roadways, and plenty of green here on the traffic tracker. A few slowdowns, of course, but typical for early this morning. A look at the roadways itself. So far, mainly dry, some pockets of rain overnight, light rain if that, so any damp spots really starting to dry up this morning. But again, it is a warm and muggy start to your day today. Tropical levels of humidity expected later on this morning into the early part of this afternoon. Much of that heavier rainfall sticking to our east here locally. Again, nuisance patchy drizzle, but this afternoon we could see the potential for an isolated storm. So again, today, this morning, you head outside, don't quite need a jacket out there. It's already warm as it is. And this afternoon, in the low to mid 80s with that isolated storm potential. We're tracking a better chance for a storm or two tomorrow. Plus, again, the latest on that heat next week in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The flash flooding death climbed to 6 in West Virginia. Several people are still missing. Emergency responders are working to do everything they can to locate the missing people as quickly as possible. A state of emergency has been issued for parts of the state after heavy rains resulted in major flash flooding over the weekend. Dozens of homes were affected, including an estimated 29 that were destroyed. Governor Patrick Morrisey took a tour of the area alongside other local officials on Monday. The time right now is 5:14.
The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are tracking a very warm and very humid day today. Our first true surge of humidity here in central New York. We've experienced a little bit of it, but today and tomorrow, you're definitely going to notice it. A live look outside in downtown Utica. Some cloudy skies, but some peaks of blue out in the distance. Expect skies like this for much of the day today, at least for the early morning, with a better shot for sunshine later on in the early part of this afternoon. High temperatures, or at least temperatures this morning, starting out in the upper 60s. And here's what I mean. Very humid to start. That dew point's going to climb into the low 70s by this afternoon, so very humid weather expected. Radar still looking mainly quiet. Here are some downpours. It's out in Canada, of course, but this is this approaching front that's likely to fire up maybe an isolated storm later on this afternoon. Again, much of this does stay outside of our area, but we can't route an isolated downpour. So if you work outside today, grab those sunglasses, keep some rainwear handy in case you get stuck in a downpour, especially later on this evening. Main thing though, keep that hat and grab that extra water, ice cold water. It won't be that hot today, but it's going to be very humid and it's going to feel a lot warmer than you think. And here's what I mean. We got tropical levels of humidity for today and for tomorrow. That cold front arrives Thursday. It's going to break the humidity a little bit, but those dew points still climb to muggy levels for Friday and for the start of the weekend on Saturday. And with that cold front, we're closely monitoring how strong this is going to pass over us. And for now, it doesn't really look too alarming still, though. Level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Main concern is the potential for an isolated supercell storm ahead of the front, not really the front itself. So we'll keep our eyes peeled throughout the day on Thursday. So today, a few early morning rain showers to our south, peaks of sunshine, and maybe an isolated storm or downpour. But much of the area today will be entirely dry. Tomorrow morning, it starts out very warm, already in the low 70s. And a few thunderstorms passing over us. Again, those are the storms we're watching by the late morning and early afternoon. Then once that cold front passes in the evening, severe weather risk is done and we cool down into the 50s by Friday morning. And then we'll climb into the upper 70s by the afternoon, maybe an isolated storm as well. And then a passing shower Saturday, and that heat really kicks in. We've got a surge of heat and humidity next week. Those temperatures you see there in the low 90s, that's just on paper. You factor in on top of that the humidity, and we're talking feels like temperatures in the mid to even as high as the upper 90s. So it's going to be quite a warm stretch next week. And I mentioned to you earlier, of course, we can forward any complaints about this heat to our winter department. Definitely those of you that thought winter was too long, well, here's summer.
Yeah, a real hot one coming.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:21. Still ahead on Sunrise. And thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Gary Libitor. Meteorologist Eric Gage over in the Weather Center tracking some very warm air this morning, right, Eric?
Yeah, very warm indeed. We're talking already upper 60s, low 70s to start your day. In fact, look at the area across upstate New York. 69 the temperature in Rome, 71 Watertown, 70 in Syracuse, and pretty much all of western New York in the 70s. A little cooler in the capital region where, again, it's a rainy start. We have been dodging those early morning rain showers the past few days and sending them out east. So I guess that now Albany and the Hudson Valley are getting their fair share of rain now, at least early this week. The radar is still picking up on that rain to our south and to our east. Here locally, aside from some light drizzle early this morning, it is dry. But you will notice that humidity as you walk outside this morning. For the first time in a little bit, we're going to experience that. And on top of that, we're actually going to see higher levels of humidity than we have seen pretty much all year long by this afternoon and for tomorrow. We got those high temperatures in the low 80s, tropical levels of humidity today, maybe a passing isolated storm, but much of the day will actually be on the drier side. We are tracking a better shot for a storm or two tomorrow, and again, that major heat arriving next week. All that and more coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Loud explosions were heard in Iran.
One question. Did you dispute it yet?
The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Our photo of the day today, pretty adorable, taken in Lee earlier, sent in this morning, of a dog, and I don't believe it's a rose, but of course the saying goes, stop and smell the roses, taken by Rosemary. An adorable photo right here If you have a photo like this you'd like to share of your pup, your dog, or whatnot, enjoying the outdoors, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Shout out to those of you watching from Lee this morning, and I hope all of you stop and smell the roses today and be thankful for the blessings you have. Today, it's going to be warm. It's going to be humid, no doubt about it. Mid-80s. It's not terribly warm, but that's tropical level humidity is what's going to make it feel a lot warmer. However, as we look ahead to next week, right below me, look at this, Monday and Tuesday, 90s. Yes, there will be sunshine. You can't really get mid-90s to low 90s in the Mohawk Valley without that sunshine, but it's going to be humid. We're talking tropical levels of humidity again, and that's going to cause those feels-like temperatures or the heat index to be in the upper 90s. We're going to follow that, plus, again, the latest on storm potential tomorrow coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thank you. It is time to grab a fishing rod.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are tracking mostly cloudy skies early this morning with warm conditions and very humid weather outside. A live look at downtown Utica early today. We've got that overcast out in the distance, the very humid weather out there with that dew point in the mid-60s, and the temperature pushing 70 already this morning. So you don't really need a jacket today. It's going to be very warm out regardless. The radar picking up on some rain showers out to our east and now exiting the Hudson Valley. Maybe a passing sprinkle early this morning, but much of that rainfall activity does end before maybe an isolated thunderstorm later on this afternoon. Because of that, if you work outside today, keep those sunglasses handy before some sunshine peeks out later this afternoon. Maybe some rainwear just in case you get stuck in one of those isolated thunderstorms. But main focus here is grab that extra water. We're going to start pointing on this check mark here for the next few days due to that high humidity. So grab that extra ice cold water from the fridge as you head out this morning. Tropical levels of humidity today and tomorrow. It'll feel like the southeast in midsummer. Well, maybe not the heat, but the humidity. Either way, we're going to see a break in that humidity a little bit Friday before the mugginess returns for the remainder of the day Friday and into Saturday. Still, though, with the slight break in the humidity, that comes from an approaching cold front tomorrow, and it arrives in the early to mid-afternoon with a few storms arriving beforehand, and those storms before the front we're keeping a close eye on. We level 2 out of 5 risk for severe storms tomorrow. It's not a lock on widespread severe weather, but something we have to closely monitor. There are ingredients present where some of these ingredients here could produce strong winds, heavy rain, and the typical severe storm ingredient or potential. So our Skycast shows mostly cloudy skies early today, some peaks of sunshine by the early to mid-afternoon. An isolated downpour or thunderstorm, otherwise it's mostly dry today. Tomorrow morning, already another warm start, pushing the low 70s initially, the low 80s by noontime. And we can see some of these showers and storms firing up. Again, that's that time frame. By the late morning to roughly 3-4 p.m. is that window where we want to keep a close eye to the sky. Following that, though, that cold front moves to the area and things quiet down. Still maybe an afternoon thunderstorm on Friday, a passing shower Saturday, but I think the elephant in the room is what happens next week. We've got that heat wave moving in, or at least maybe a partial heat wave, temperatures in the low 90s. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's that humidity that's going to make it an alert day with the heat index values or the feels like temperature likely in the mid to upper 90s. It's going to be very hot indeed next week, Gary. So maybe it's AC time. I've been holding off using my AC as much as possible, trying to use my outdoor fan. In one of those days, I might have to turn it on.
Yeah, we really haven't needed it much at all.
Yeah, it's been such a cool and relatively mild spring.
Till next week.
Yep.
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:54. Still at
Lipitor and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Gary Lipitor.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And it almost feels like Boilermaker Sunday out there, doesn't it? Nice, balmy, and
balmy mid-July morning in mid-June. And we're finally starting to feel that summer-like weather with summer right on our doorstep, a few days away. A look outside those current temperatures. As I mentioned, we are already in the upper 60s. I feel like this will be a good Boilermaker day today, Gary. Maybe a little humid, but either way, it's warm out there this afternoon. Well, as you see, these temperatures climb from the upper 60s, low 70s into the low to mid 80s. So the radar is mainly quiet here locally. Behind me to the east is where a few rain showers have passed the Hudson Valley and Albany area. Now, there are a few isolated sprinkles that could pass through the southern valleys this morning, but much of the day today will be dry. We could see an isolated shower, even a rumble of thunder this afternoon with an isolated downpour, but we'll see this warmth as well as the humidity. It'll be a lot more noticeable this afternoon, even tomorrow as well. Tomorrow, though, we have a better shot for some thunderstorms, and as we look ahead to next week, even warmer days are ahead, maybe in the mid-90s with that heat index value of all that and more coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. New this morning, more intense Israeli airstrikes have struck Iran.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Time now is 6:12 on this Wednesday morning. As you head out to work today, on the Pratt Muncie CommuteCast, we'll be tracking warm conditions. That's the main takeaway here today. Won't quite need a jacket out there, already in the upper 60s, low 70s. Traffic tracker showing green across the board and area roadways. Still no incidents to report of, and so far things looking smooth early today. The radar picking up on rainfall out to our south and to our east. If you headed out toward Albany this morning, you might encounter some pretty damp conditions, but of course, by the time you reach there, it'll be drying up. And here locally, we are expecting a mainly dry day today. A humid one, but a dry one. With mostly cloudy skies initially, we will see some sunshine move in as we head into the early afternoon. However, there could be an isolated storm. We'll just make sure you're weather aware for that. It's not going to be widespread, but one or two might fire up here and there. There's a better shot for some storms tomorrow, and we'll continue to track that heat and humidity continue to climb by next week. All that and more in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The flash flooding death toll has climbed to 6 down in West Virginia. Several people are still missing. Emergency responders are working to do everything they can to locate the missing people as quickly as possible. A state of emergency has been issued for parts of the state after heavy rains resulted in severe flash flooding over the weekend. Dozens of homes were affected by the flash flooding, including 29 that were completely destroyed. Governor Patrick Morrisey took a tour of the area alongside other local officials on Monday. The time right now is 6.
One question for you. Did you get your ticket yet?
The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Mostly cloudy skies to start your day, but as you head outdoors, you're going to definitely notice that humidity on the rise. Already, let's take a look at downtown Utica, where skies, again, still generally cloudy. There's a little more sunshine as you head more north and west of our area. But again, it's in the upper 60s and that dew point in the mid 60s and continuing to rise. This is what's going to be very noticeable today, with very humid conditions turning tropical as we head into this afternoon. The radar, although it's very humid out, there's not a whole lot of rainfall taking place here locally. Much of that was staying put out in the capital region. Here locally, maybe some isolated drizzle, but much of the morning, even early afternoon, is expected to be dry today. The only additional rain chances could be from a stray downpour or thunderstorm due to that high humidity. We get into this time of year where there's so much moisture in the atmosphere that any minor lift, at least vertical lift in the atmosphere, could produce a downpour like that. If you work outside today, have those sunglasses handy by the early afternoon. Maybe keep rainwear handy with you today as well in case you get stuck in a downpour. Again, the chances for that are very low but non-zero. What I do always say though is grab that extra water from the fridge before you leave to work today due to that higher humidity. It won't be that hot, but at least on paper, but with tropical levels of humidity, it's going to feel a lot warmer. You got tropical levels today and tomorrow, a little bit of a relief by Friday as a cold front moves through Thursday, but we're still in the muggy category, so that humidity isn't entirely gone by the weekend. And speaking of that cold front, we're tracking the arrival of it tomorrow afternoon, early afternoon, and with it, there could be some severe storm potential ahead of that front. You see here, level 2 out of 5 risk for the areas in yellow. And these are due to what are called supercell storms, or these storms that develop ahead of the actual front. And those are the ones that will closely monitor throughout the late morning and early afternoon. In fact, let's see it right here in the Skycast. First off today, maybe a few showers to our south, otherwise mostly dry. Temperatures already pushing the low 80s by the afternoon. And you can see here, you've got maybe an isolated downpour. By tomorrow morning, already upper 60s, low 70s, pushing the low to mid 80s by the afternoon, and a better shot for some thunderstorms in the evening. Those are the timing, or those are the storms we're watching timing-wise. And with those by 5-6 p.m., much of that risk is pretty much over and done with, and we quiet down to start Friday. Following that, though, we've got 80s on tap for this weekend so far, and by next week, we've got 90s on tap. So that heat, that summertime heat, keeps climbing. As of now, I'm looking beyond the next 7 days, and there could be another day or two of that heat. It's not going to last terribly long, but if you get 2 or 3 days of it, 3 days above 90 here locally is usually considered a heat wave. So if we get 3 of them in a row, we would call it a heat wave for late June.
So from a heat dome to a heat wave.
Yes, caused by a heat dome.
A lot of heat.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. Be sure to like us on. Thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libator. If you head outside right now, it's quite warm. Meteorologist Eric Gage is over in the Weather Center. And Eric, we're talking almost balmy out there, right?
Oh yeah, balmy indeed. It's humid out and it's warm. In fact, let's take a look at some of these temperatures here as you wake up and head out to work today. We're already pushing 70 in the Mohawk Valley this morning. It already is 70 as you head out to Buffalo in western New York, but we're on the fringe of it here in the valley. A little cooler as you head down in Hamilton, even Saranac Lake at a 66-degree start to the day. Rain showers reported in the Albany area. However, as we head throughout the morning, that's going to change as that rainfall continues to shift its way east. Here in the Mohawk Valley, it is a dry start to your day. Isolated drizzle, if that, but much of the area waking up to quiet weather. We zoom out, we've got a chance of a patchy shower this afternoon, even a downpour, as there is still some instability moving into the atmosphere, mainly driven by the heat and that humidity. It's going to feel tropical out there today. And we got another warm and humid day tomorrow with a better shot for storms as this humidity continues to rise, especially by next week. We'll have that detailed look at that heat moving in for the first weekdays of summer coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. As loud explosions were heard in Iran.
Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. The Oneonta is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Our photo of the day today takes us to the town of Lee. Shout out to those of you watching from this portion of Oneida County this morning. And this photo kind of caught my heart this morning. It was something kind of symbolic too. You got a Rosemary's dog here, the submitter of this photo, and the title, Stop and Smell the Roses. Now, yes, I'm not sure if those are, I do not believe those are roses. Maybe they are. A bit hard to see here. My eyesight's not really that good. But either way, symbolic in nature. This morning, count your blessings, stop and smell the roses. Thank you for this submission here. And if you have a photo like this you'd like to share with us, maybe a positive message too to brighten someone's day, send it to the link right there, wktv.com/weather/pics. You able to figure it out, Gary? I couldn't see it. I don't know if I could see if it was a rose or not, but it looked like a nice flower.
Eric, I think it was a rose, and hopefully he didn't get pricked by the bush there.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, the rose have their thorns.
Yeah. Now to a story of a group.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Wednesday morning. Time now is 6:50, and to start your day today, it's dry, but it's warm already in the upper 60s. A look at downtown Utica right now. Not only is it warm out there, but it's very humid. We hit the 70-degree mark already at this hour, with dew points climbing, and we'll see likely tropical levels of humidity today. The radar is mainly quiet. Much of that rainfall now exiting the capital region, and much of New York State at this hour is also dry. But our attention stays to the west. There's a few of these slow-moving downpours. Some of them could fire up in central New York later on this evening, but much of the day today is expected to be dry. So if you have any outdoor work today, keep those sunglasses handy. We'll see some more sunshine this afternoon. Maybe have that rainwear handy in case you get caught in one of those downpours. The most likely timing of them will be closer to the evening around sunset. But what I will tell you is to grab that extra water. It won't be that hot today, but it'll be very humid, so it will feel warmer than it actually is. Same thing for Thursday. Tropical levels of humidity. A cold front moves through Friday, or at least Thursday night into Friday, bringing down the levels a little bit, but still remaining in the muggy category as you look ahead to the start of the weekend. And that said, cold front could produce some stronger storms. We're in level 2 out of 5 risk zone in the yellow area here, and these are the primary risks: gusty winds, heavy rain, and the typical severe weather concerns with these storms. But it's not really the front itself that we're focused on, it's the storms ahead of the front, which are sometimes called supercells. Those are the ones we're closely monitoring if they do form, and they'll likely, if they do form, be around the early afternoon before that front moves in by the mid to late afternoon. So let's see what's going on here in the skycast. So afternoon showers maybe south of us. I think that's a little overcompensating for the amount of rainfall that's going to be taking place south. Either way, here are those isolated downpours, very little if any, and they likely could take place in the late evening. A warm start to your Thursday. Sunshine moves in, and here are those thunderstorms that pass over us. By 6-7 p.m., that severe weather risk is pretty much gone, and we'll enter a cooler overnight before we rebound back into the 70s again by Friday afternoon with maybe an isolated downpour. Your 7-day forecast as we look ahead to the weekend. We're in the 80s with increasing humidity, and then next week comes the heat. Low 90s heat index in the mid 90s, and looking beyond it, there could be another day or so of heat before we cool down a little bit. So it's not a extended 7-day stretch of this heat, but still it's gonna be very warm and well warranted after such a cool and rainy fall or spring and a cool and rainy, cool and snowy winter.
The anticipation of tomorrow's 7-day, will we see another red, right?
Yes, we'll look forward to it.
3 in a row. Eric, thanks. The time right joining us now. And Eric, as you were mentioning, a bit humid out for a change, right?
Yes, we got that real taste of summertime humidity already. We're not really seeing a lot of sunshine, but you can definitely feel that tropical nature in the air. In fact, a look at the temperatures out there as of this noontime, upper 70s in the Mohawk Valley, low 70s as you head down into the capital region, Catskills. Those are where the rain showers are still falling. So it's a little cooler over there, but you head north and east or north and west, it's even warmer. Dew point hitting 70 in Rome, which means on our humidity scale, dew point, which is the best way to determine how muggy or humid it feels out there, we're at the tropical scale for the first time in quite a while here in the Mohawk Valley. So the radar still looking mainly quiet in the Utica-Rome area. Those of you in Otsego County still might have seen a few showers today. We're monitoring these. We got these very slow-moving downpours and thunderstorms out west. A lot of them are going to fall apart before they reach our area. So we're tracking a mostly dry afternoon, but a couple of them might survive. We have a better shot for those storms tomorrow. Some of them might be on the stronger side. We'll have that and the timing of it coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Brand new this noon after more than 3.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. It's so far a mostly cloudy day today. In fact, some of you down south in Otsego County, maybe a rainy one so far. But overall, it's humid out. There's no doubt about that. Let's take a look outside in Utica right now where the skies are generally overcast. Out to our north and west, or where the sun is shining, if you're wondering where that sunshine is. But we have hit the tropical level of humidity. Dew points in the low 70s and above count as that. You see these dew points as you head farther south in the southeast, even the tropics, of course, where the name comes from. So that air outside definitely feeling very, very tacky. A look at the radar and satellite. We've got some of those rain showers passing through parts of Otsego County and beyond. North and west are where it's more dry, but we are tracking a few slow-moving thunderstorms in western New York. Again, a lot of these are expected to fall apart before they reach our area, but still one or two might survive. So an isolated downpour can't be ruled out. We peak in the low 80s today. It's not going to warm up much beyond how it is right now due to that lack of steady sunshine to start the day. But again, that humidity is going to keep those temperatures relatively steady into the evening hours and overnight. Overnight lows only falling into the upper 60s, low 70s. So we've got this tropical level of humidity today and tomorrow. A cold front moves through Thursday, going to whisk away some of that humidity, but still it's going to stick around a little bit Friday and Saturday at muggy levels. It won't be quite refreshing or comfy. But still, with that cold front arriving on Thursday, there's a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe storms, something we're going to closely monitor throughout the early afternoon. And it's mainly the storms arriving ahead of the actual front that spell concern. If they could fire up, tap into instability, they could produce rotating storms. It's our biggest concern. But again, the risk right now is not high, but it's just something to monitor. For now, there's no alert day in effect. Across the area today, generally overcast. Here, those rain showers. Sunshine peaks out in the mid-afternoon. And here are those slow-moving downpours. As the farther west you go, a better chance for those today. But either way, they begin to fall apart. A warm start to your Thursday with a little more sunshine than today. We're in the low to mid-80s by the afternoon, and then here are those showers and thunderstorms between roughly noontime and 5 p.m. is our window. We're going to keep our eye to the sky. Then following that, that cold front moves through in the late evening, and severe risk is done. It's a mainly dry day for Friday, your first day of summer. Your first weekend of summer is going to feel like it. We're already hitting the 80s with increased humidity, and if that wasn't enough, how about 90s next week with high humidity, tropical levels again, similar to today, but we're going to be looking at very humid conditions, and as we look ahead to beyond, we're going to looking at warmer conditions for Wednesday before things do eventually cool down a little bit later on in the week.
Yeah, that is going to be pretty hot next week. That's for sure. Eric, thanks. Well, Rome Health reopened its... NBC's Richard Engel from Tel Aviv, meteorologist Eric Gage now, and that humidity is turning up, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, it's not really, oh, it is hot out, but it's not really that hot out, but you got that dew point in the low 70s. It is tropical out there, Gary. Let's take a look at that dew point scale again. We are dealing with these dew points in the low 70s for the first time in quite a while here in central New York. And again, you add in the dew point scale, and this is the best way to measure humidity, or at least how it feels like out there. If you look at a dew point, it says 50 or below, it's refreshing. You can tell when you get higher and higher, eventually you hit 70 and it reaches that tropical level. But if you're wondering how high does it really go, well, usually about as high as dew points get here, around 75 degrees, and that means it's near oppressive category with how much moisture is in the atmosphere. And basically at that point, any minor updraft in the atmosphere could just fire up a thunderstorm. So that shows you just how much moisture is just condensed in the atmosphere. But again, today, a few showers south of Utica. We're closely watching this right here. These are slow-moving thunderstorms right here. Pretty heavy downpours in just a few isolated spots. So we're going to continue to track this, plus a better shot for some of these storms to pull east tomorrow, coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Rome police have arrested...
One question for you. Did you dispute ticket yet?
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. It is a tropical day out there today with very high humidity. Best term to describe it, air you can wear. Now, a look outside, although it's very humid out, we're not seeing a whole lot of sunshine, at least here in the Mohawk Valley and south. You head north and east, or north and west, keep confusing my directions today. We are looking at a lot more sunshine up near, say, Lowville and Watertown, but either way, here locally, 79, cloudy, tropical humidity out there today. Now, it's a pretty busy area of the Northeast right now, including parts of Michigan and southern Canada here. Showers, storms, slow-moving storms, and clouds. Here in central New York, we are just lucky. We haven't really seen a whole lot of this. A very narrow band of dry weather, but as we head into this evening, some of these storms could survive, push their way east. A lot of them are going to fall apart, though. They might move faster than the overall wind is carrying it, and if they encounter sinking air, they're going to collapse. But still, today's highs, low 80s, still very humid out there with those dew points sitting here in the low 70s. So it's going to be tropical today and tomorrow. That cold front that arrives Thursday evening is going to whisk away some of that moisture in the atmosphere. It's still going to be muggy out Friday and Saturday, but at least noticeably less humid out there compared to today and tomorrow. But with that cold front, of course, due to that high humidity and those warmer temperatures, two ingredients you need for severe weather. The third one is an approaching front, a driver, which is taking place tomorrow. So you got a lot of those ingredients present. 2 out of 5 risk. It's not a high risk situation, but the chances are there. So remain weather aware in the early afternoon tomorrow for a few storms that could fire up and turn severe. And if they are, of course, they'll have warnings sent right to your phone. You can download the Storm Tracker 2 app right there in the bottom of your screen to get notified of those alerts. Still, rain showers south of Utica early today. A few isolated downpours. They dry up tomorrow. Dry start, sunny start in parts of the area, and then a few thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Those are the ones we are watching. By 6 p.m., that front passes east and severe weather risk is done. No storm potential overnight. We get clouds and overnight lows in the 50s and low 60s. So your 7-day forecast. First day of summer arrives Friday. It's more dry than not. The weekend also looking more dry than not, but also a lot warmer. We were waiting. Where is that summertime heat? Where is it? And
It's coming.
here it is in full force. We're talking 90s next week already. So I think Mother Nature heard our frustration with the long and cold winter and spring and decided, how about a pretty warm summer?
Let's heat it up.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. Well, the culinary world.
That's what Chief Meteorologist Bill Carter. Speaking of the storm, we have rain on the way.
A little bit. Big story is, my oh my, how things have changed so quickly here. The high humidity, dew points at 70. Radar kind of looking ugly to our west. Things are not moving in the atmosphere. So all of this is going to stay to the west, which is not good for what is happening out here. This is out towards Rochester. These maroon boxes that you see are flash flood warnings. Because these storms are moving incredibly slow, they are producing some flooding out to the west. So just a heads up, if you are heading west this evening, you're going to run into that west of Syracuse. But these are expected to weaken before they arrive tonight. We're not expecting any big issues with that. We'll keep an eye on it, though. 84 degrees, very humid. Biggest change, the temperature, but also the humidity. Dew points up to 67. And we're going to be tracking some humidity. Very humid tonight and tomorrow. That means the overnight lows come up quite a bit, are only dropping down into the upper 60s tonight. We are tracking a few thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. A couple of those could be on the stronger side. And then we get a small break from the humidity before it really ramps up early next week. We're talking about some pretty intense heat and humidity for early next week. This evening, temperatures remain in the 80s. Again, we're going to keep an eye on maybe a few thunderstorms late tonight as well as early tomorrow. Going to look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Bill, thank you. The Community Foundation.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Turning out to be a nice day. It's very humid outside and it's a lot warmer, but we are seeing sunshine. And if you're a fan of summer, today is your day. Actually, the week is going to be your week. They're taking a live look in downtown Utica, 84 degrees, and it's a pleasant day. We're staying dry. The humidity pretty high. The dew point hit 70 earlier this afternoon. It's currently 67, but either way, it's between humid and tropical, and it's very noticeable. The humidity is going to stay high through tomorrow, but a cold front will move in, and that will put an end, at least temporarily, to the humidity. We look to the west, there are thunderstorms out near Rochester. These are moving incredibly slowly, so a lot of these don't even arrive here until tonight, and a lot of these will lose steam before they get here. So I think the weather is generally dry this evening without any big concerns, but again, we're going to continue to follow that. We will be watching a cold front tomorrow. During the early afternoon, the front arrives, and it could produce some gusty winds in our area along with some locally heavy rain. So our area is under the risk for a couple of stronger storms, especially from Utica and points east. But again, the majority of the area under this chance. We'll continue to watch this throughout the afternoon. And a reminder, you can always get weather alerts to your phone if you're going to be planning on being outdoors tomorrow. This could come in handy, not only getting weather alerts, but also being notified when lightning or heavy rain is nearby can be pretty helpful. Looking at current temperatures, we're in the 80s. Again, it's very humid out there, feeling a lot more like summer. Little Falls 84. Dolgeville, I should say Little Falls 81. Dolgeville is 84. Across Southern Valleys, Cooperstown 79, Oneonta 77. Pretty quiet weather locally, but again, we are tracking a few thunderstorms to the west. An area of low pressure will swing through and produce a cold front that passes through tomorrow. Tonight, overnight lows drop into the upper 60s. It's a very warm and very muggy night. You can see Skycast says that these storms really don't materialize for our area, at least tonight. It's a different story tomorrow. As that cold front approaches, I'm expecting some thunderstorms to develop between 1 to 5 p.m. Scattered storms. Not everybody gets these. This will move to the east. And again, there could be some stronger weather involved here tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. It turns noticeably less humid tomorrow night and a little bit more comfortable on Friday, looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies with the chance of a passing shower late in the day. High temperatures in the upper 70s. Tonight, an isolated storm, a low of 68. Scattered storms tomorrow afternoon. Still very humid, 85. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We are continuing to watch a possible heat wave next week. Definitely hot for sure Monday and Tuesday. Those are Storm Tracker 2 alert days. Air temperatures in the low 90s. It means the heat index could be approaching triple digits. Wednesday, if we hit 90, would be a heat wave, but either way, it's still going to be a very hot day.
1 degree isn't going to make any difference.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, how quickly this forecast has changed.
Yeah.
I literally wore sleeves like last week at one point.
Well, I mean, I pretty much do every day. It's kind of cold in the newsroom, but.
All right, thank you, Bill.
In this half hour with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
So the heat is starting to build, and this is just a reminder, you've got to be mindful of your pets. If you're taking the dog for a walk, you want to go early in the morning or in the evening time, because that hot sun can really make the pavement much hotter than the air temperature. If it's 90 degrees outside and the sun is out, the pavement could be as hot as 140 degrees, and your pet's paws can burn when temperatures are over 125 degrees. So again, just something to be mindful of as we get into, especially next week when we get into some pretty intense heat Monday and Tuesday. We're keeping an eye on the radar this evening. There are a couple of pop-up showers and thunderstorms, especially west of our area. They're very slow movers, and there is the chance that we could see a thunderstorm here tonight. Big story, the temperature. It's very humid out there. We'll see another day like today tomorrow. High temperatures in the mid-80s. A little bit of a break Friday, and then the heat really builds as we head into the weekend and beyond. If you're taking the dog out for a walk this evening, temperatures will be in the upper 70s. Again, pretty humid day out there. Tonight's featured dog Duke from Rome. If you want to be part of this, head to Skycast WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thanks. This next story.
Your Children's Miracle Drawing ticket in person. Just stop by these local Walmart locations from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They'll be on site accepting cash, check, or credit card. So come get your Children's Miracle Drawing ticket before they're gone.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. The humidity is ramping up today, along with the temperature. Let's take a live look in Oneonta. Getting a few breaks in the overcast. A lot more sunshine elsewhere. Temperature of 73. Looking at the humidity, we hit 70 for our dew point, so it's feeling very humid, if not tropical at times. This is going to continue as we head into tomorrow. But there is a cold front on the way that will bring an end, at least a temporary end, to the humidity. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. There are thunderstorms to the west, even some flash flooding taking place out in the Rochester area. These are extremely slow-moving thunderstorms. They are moving east, but by the time they get here, I think a lot of these will weaken. We'll keep an eye on things, but I think the worst of this is going to stay to our west, certainly the worst with the heavy rainfall. But tomorrow, we do have the risk of a few thunderstorms. In fact, tomorrow, just about all of central New York has the risk of seeing some gusty winds and some locally heavy rain. We're expecting scattered storms to develop in the afternoon between about 1 to 5 p.m. From a cold front, this moves east, and then the humidity will break as we head into late tomorrow and into early Friday. A reminder, you can get weather alerts to your phone by downloading the Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Not only weather alerts with severe thunderstorm warnings or flash flood warnings, but also if there's heavy rain nearby or if lightning is nearby. Again, pretty helpful if you're going to be out and about tomorrow afternoon. Skywatchers, 84 in Clinton, Barneveld 80 degrees, Micah New Hartford 85, Norway 80 degrees, Old Forge 79, Cooperstown 76, Paynes Hollow 81. Again, tracking some thunderstorms to the west. Look at how slow this is moving. This is over the last 6 hours. These storms have only moved maybe a dozen or so miles, if that. Again, these are going to fall apart as they move to the east. There's a cold front that will push all of this to the east as we get into tomorrow afternoon. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight, mostly cloudy, very warm tonight. Good night to run the air conditioner. Overnight lows drop into the upper 60s. Tomorrow, we're looking at partly sunny skies. The round of thunderstorms arrives in the afternoon. Again, some gusty winds, locally heavy rain is possible. Tomorrow night, the weather does clear out. Overnight lows drop into the low 60s. Friday, most of the day looks pretty quiet. Clouds give way to sunshine, less humid. The chance of a shower late, high temperatures in the upper 70s. An isolated storm tonight, low of 68. Tomorrow, thunderstorms in the afternoon. 85 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Chance of a shower Saturday, 83, 87 Sunday, partly sunny. It is looking hot and humid early next week. We've got back-to-back alert days due to the intense heat for Monday and Tuesday. High temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Still very warm on Wednesday, but I think that's when things start to change. 89 degrees with thunderstorms in the afternoon. We'll be right back.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Big jump in the humidity today, also a lot warmer. We're keeping an eye on the radar. There are some thunderstorms to our west. They're extremely slow movers, and there's some flooding issues out near Rochester. So if you're traveling west this evening, you'll run into that. We're keeping an eye on these. They're likely to arrive tonight if they even survive. We do expect these to weaken closer to sunset. We'll have another chance of getting thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. That chance looks a lot more likely compared to tonight. 83 degrees, very warm. The dew points way up to 68. It feels very humid outside. We're tracking very warm conditions tonight, a lot of humidity tomorrow, a few thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. We get a break in the humidity, but it's only temporary because we are tracking much hotter weather as we head into early next week. Temperatures in the 80s this evening, very warm, very humid. Again, tracking some thunderstorms for tomorrow afternoon. I'm timing those out. I'm taking a closer look at what they could bring, and that's coming up. Back over to you.
They dug up the entire lawn, planted.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. Feeling like a lot more like summer today with higher levels of humidity and heat. Temperatures in the low 80s this evening, and this is a live look in downtown Utica. Turning out to be a much nicer day. We were able to get the sunshine, but if you're not a fan of this heat and humidity, you're not going to like the news looking ahead. We've got some much warmer weather on the horizon. We're also tracking some thunderstorms, too. Today's dew point hit 70 this afternoon, feeling tropical. It'll stay in the upper 60s for the most part tonight, tomorrow. It really ramps up next week. I think dew points could climb into the low 70s Monday and Tuesday. So live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. For most of us, the weather looks pretty quiet this evening, but I want to show you what's going on to the west. I'm going to step aside here and move the radar to the west. These thunderstorms are very slow movers, so even though they're fairly close to us, they just haven't moved very much over the past several hours. They're producing some really bad flooding, some flash flooding to the west. If you're traveling west of Syracuse, be mindful of that, also out towards Ithaca. But again, locally, I think these are going to fizzle out for the most part, or at least weaken before they get here, and that wouldn't be until tonight. There's a better chance of storms tomorrow for our area. We're thinking 1 to 5 p.m. as a cold front moves through. I guess the good news is that this cold front's going to be pushing the storms through, so flooding won't be as much of an issue compared to what's happening today to the west. But we could still see some gusty winds and some locally heavy rain. Again, we think the timing is 1 to 5 p.m. Storms will generally be scattered. If you need a way to get weather warnings, we highly recommend our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. It's free to download. It'll also give you alerts if heavy rain or lightning is nearby. As we look at our Skywatchers, temperatures are a lot warmer today. Micah, New Hartford, 85 degrees. Barneveld, 80. Old Forge, 79. Cooperstown, 76. Paynes Hollow, 81. A cold front approaches from the west, again producing some thunderstorms tomorrow. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies. Again, can't rule out an isolated shower or maybe rumble of thunder from what's happening to the west. By the time we get into tomorrow morning, it's a pretty quiet start to the day. Thunderstorms fire up in the afternoon, again 1 to 5 p.m. A couple of heavier downpours and gusty winds are possible. Things quiet down tomorrow night, and we're looking at much nicer weather on Friday. A drop of the humidity, a little bit cooler. Clouds give way to sunshine with high temperatures in the 70s. An isolated storm tonight, low of 68. Scattered storms tomorrow afternoon, 85. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. A shower is expected on Saturday, 83. That's part of a warm front. We're up to 87 Sunday, and then the heat is on. Temperatures in the low 90s, maybe even mid 90s Monday. Lots of sunshine, but back-to-back alert days due to the intense heat. Still very humid on Wednesday. Temperatures in the upper 80s.
All right, Bill, thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. Still to come on News. Just thank you. Time now for a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. All right, this heat and humidity is going to cause some storms for us tomorrow. Tell me what we got coming up.
Well, we're watching this to the west. This is a line of some strong weather out in Ohio tonight. This is going to be the same system that's going to be moving in locally, and thinking that this could produce some scattered storms here, and a couple of those could be on the stronger side. It's not quite to the level where we would make this an alert day, but it is something to be aware of. Tomorrow afternoon, some gusty winds are certainly possible. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Things are looking pretty quiet locally. Again, some heavy rain taking place to the west, not only in Ohio, but also in western New York. There was quite a bit of flooding out towards Rochester with very slow-moving storms. Those have fallen apart. They will not be impacting our weather, at least not tonight. 75 degrees. It is very warm. It's very humid outside, and it is a great night to run the air conditioner if you have it. Overnight lows only drop into the upper 60s across the region. You got a very muggy night in place. We are tracking some storms for tomorrow and also some pretty intense heat ahead. Got to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. More than 3.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Well, summer is here, although the calendar says it starts Friday. It definitely feels like it tonight. Temperature of 75 degrees. It is muggy. It is going to stay muggy tonight. Levels of humidity have really climbed here over the past 24 hours. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We are tracking some showers to the west. These are falling apart, but we could see an isolated shower here tonight. Better chance for thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. In fact, a couple storms could be on the stronger side. The overall risk is not all that high, but it's there. And if you are going to be outdoors tomorrow, you're going to want to have a way to get weather alerts. An easy way to do that is to download our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Again, it's free and it comes in pretty handy if there's any weather going on. It'll even notify you if there's heavy rain or lightning nearby. Humidity, well, as you can tell, it's pretty high out there today. Our dew point hits 70. Looks pretty humid tomorrow. We'll get a break in the humidity Friday, and then it starts to build up again as we head into the weekend. Bigger picture shows a cold front moving in from the west. A lot of severe weather with this in Ohio tonight, with some pretty strong winds. By the time this gets here, it does weaken somewhat. But again, we are tracking some storms for late tomorrow. Tonight, it's a muggy night. Overnight lows drop into the upper 60s. Tomorrow, we'll start out with mostly cloudy skies, a few breaks of sunshine. I'm expecting some thunderstorms to fire up between about 1 to 5 p.m. Gusty winds, locally heavy rain is possible. Again, some stronger weather with this is possible too, but that risk is not super high. Heading into tomorrow night, we'd get a chance to cool down. We'll drop into the low 60s. On Friday, starts out cloudy. We'll see some sunshine, less humidity. High temperatures climb into the upper 70s. Tonight, an isolated shower or storm. Very warm and muggy night, low of 68. Tomorrow, thunderstorms expected in the afternoon. A couple of those could be on the stronger side. It's a humid day. High of 85. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We do get a break in the humidity on Friday, first day of summer, and it does look dry. On Saturday, a passing shower as a warm front arrives, 83. We're up to 87 Sunday, partly sunny skies. Back-to-back alert days, Monday and Tuesday of next week. It is hot, it's humid. The heat index could be pretty intense. We're looking at the heat index in the upper 90s, maybe even triple digits Monday. And then it's still pretty warm Wednesday, not quite alert day worthy, but 89.
This is all really in the middle as everyone's ramping up their training for the Boilermaker. So, hey, let's be smart about running in this kind of weather. Just don't.
Or if you're going to do it early in the day or do it in the evening.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Bill. Well, the Citron Rig. Let's look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. This heat and humidity, well, it's welcome. It's also going to bring some storms with it for tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, we're watching storms tonight to the west out towards Pittsburgh. Some severe weather taking place tonight. Could see a few stronger storms tomorrow locally, although it's not expected to be widespread. Not quite to the level of an alert day, but we do want you to be aware that, again, a couple of storms could be rolling through our region, mainly during the afternoon time. 1 to 5 p.m. is what we're thinking. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Most of the area looking dry, a couple of sprinkles out there. It's really warm. It's soupy. It's muggy. Temperature of 72 degrees, dew point 70. Definitely feels like a summer night across the region. Good night to run the air conditioner. Overnight lows only in the upper 60s. We are expecting the weather to remain muggy tomorrow before we get a little bit of a break Friday. The heat really starts to build as we look ahead, especially early next week. I've got to look at the temperature trend coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. More than
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
A warm summer night across central New York. It's still 72 degrees. It is very muggy outside. It's live looking downtown Utica. You can almost see the haze in the sky. It's going to stay pretty warm tonight. Good night to run the air conditioner. We're going to have even warmer nights ahead. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. This is what's left of what was some very heavy rain out in western New York. There was all kinds of flash flooding out in the Rochester area with storms that just sat in one place. We're not expecting that tomorrow. The winds are going to carry storms through. We could still have some heavy rain, but it's not quite the same setup that they were dealing with in western New York tomorrow. The primary concern would be gusty winds, locally heavy rain as these storms roll through the afternoon time. So there is the risk for severe weather. It's not high, but it's there. And you're going to want to be weather aware tomorrow. Easy way to do that, download our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. You can get instant weather alerts to your phone. It'll also alert you if heavy rain or lightning is nearby. Again, something that's going to come in handy throughout the summer. Humidity, it's going to be very humid tomorrow. Just like today, dew points will be near 70. We do get a break in the humidity Friday, but then guess what? It builds back in as we head into the weekend. We've got something called a Bermuda high that's going to set up next week. This big dome of high pressure in the eastern United States is going to serve as a heat dome, and it's going to give us multiple days where temperatures will hit 90 degrees beginning on Monday. Before that happens, we've got a cold front moves in. Again, that's producing some stronger weather to the west tonight, some severe weather out in Ohio. Tonight, we're looking at maybe a passing shower. It's a quiet night locally. Temperatures will drop into the upper 60s. Start out the day tomorrow with a mix of sunshine and clouds. Thunderstorms are expected in the early afternoon. Again, a couple of these could pack a bit of a punch. Temperatures will drop into the 70s here once the storms clear the area. We'll notice a drop in the humidity tomorrow night. And then Friday looks pretty nice. Clouds give way to sunshine and a generally dry afternoon and less humid with highs in the upper 70s. An isolated shower or storm tonight, a low of 68. Tomorrow, thunderstorms in the afternoon, still humid, 85. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Summer, actually the coolest day of the week, at least the first day of summer, 78 degrees, partly sunny skies. A shower on Saturday as a warm front moves in, 87 Sunday. Back-to-back Storm Tracker 2 alert days. We're talking about temperatures in the 90s, and the heat index could be approaching triple digits.
Wow.
Head into Monday afternoon.
We have not had a couple of 90 days in a row for a while, obviously since last summer.
Yes, actually it was right around this time last June. We had 3 days in a row that hit 90, so this will be a little bit warmer than that.
All right, we'll be watching for it. Thank you, Bill. Well, the Citron